to, like all of us are sitting here listening to each speaker come up here, and we're paying attention and we're listening. And what I'm looking back and what I'm seeing in the audience is that most of the times when somebody's responding to a point that you have made, or the district is trying to explain something, sometimes you're not giving us the same respect. And I think respect has to go both ways. I mean, listen, the reason you're here is maybe because you don't know all of these things, that you don't know that these are state mandated tests. I'm guessing because if otherwise you wouldn't be coming to us speaking at a board meeting. Because if you knew that, you wouldn't know. I mean, you wouldn't be doing that. And another thing I'm sitting here wondering how do we get information to our staff? Because do they know how the teacher salaries are set? Do they know how these tests are mandated? Is it that we're not giving you enough information so that you don't feel that you're at a loss? And I don't know, Mr. Superintendent, maybe I should ask you that question. It's just puzzling because it's hard to see that these are our employees and that they are so misinformed.
Well, thank you for the question through the chair. No, I think that as I said earlier, and I agree with everything you said, everybody has every right to come out and speak. But I think you're hearing, some of the questions you're hearing are rhetorical questions. So when I hear questions about charter schools, this board has echoed some of those concerns. When you hear questions about FSA, computer-based assessment, reliability, validity, a lot of these questions are rhetorical in nature. A lot of them are the same exact questions we've asked. With regards to questions about salary schedules or collective bargaining agreements, I do think that some of the individuals who have spoken, no, they understand. They're just on a side of disagreement with what was agreed upon between the negotiators and UTD. So I think there's an understanding. There's, however, a disagreement with the outcome. And that is something that, as the attorney has said and the board members have said, we don't have the power to overturn what was negotiated. And as I said last time, and I know this was harsh conversation to some, there was an intent on the part of this board for years to address the counterpoint that has been made over the past 2 school board meetings. And that issue is that there was a majority of teachers in Miami-Dade whose salary increases on the basis of a step schedule that goes back 4 to 5 decades felt like they were left out. They felt that to get to a point where they would see in any way, shape, or form a significant increase, that at some point was, for some teachers, $150. For them to depart from that, they would have to wait a decade, and then to see the second bump 2 decades. And that, to me, was quite frankly an insult. And I think this board, if you go back before this last negotiation, that was the slew of emails they used to get. Hundreds of emails from individuals saying, that's not fair. So I think individuals understand. They're just in disagreement with. And we understand it. That's why for the 2 groups of teachers who did not see those significant step increases as were historically embedded, they still saw more than other teachers. So there was sort of a sliding scale. But I understand the frustration. I understand it. But this was a policy decision on the basis of years of discontent with the condition that existed prior to this. And there is no way of fixing it, of addressing it, other than attempting to have a fair way of providing compensation increases. And that is exactly what was negotiated. There is no way of overturning a democratic process. Now, if people want to contest the outcome, then I think Ms. Regalado has said it very eloquently. There is a process for that. But what I meant when I said there's no amount of conversation that will take us to that point, it is the truth. There is an entity that you are duly qualified and bound by law to negotiate with, and no other entity outside of that entity. And that is exactly what we do with clear intent of purpose and intentionality. Obviously, there are some individuals who feel, and I understand it, bottom of my heart, I understand. If somebody was waiting 2, 3, 4, 5 years for that one big step, and now it changed, yes, I understand the frustration. Just like I understand the person who waited 6-7 years getting step increases that I thought were insulting, and feeling, I don't want to wait 12 years to get that and then 20 years to get the second bump. Can you please spread the wealth? And that was the theory of action that took us to negotiations. If there are individuals, and I understand that, did not like the outcome, just like every year, there's a recourse for that. But we negotiate with the entity that legally we negotiate with. And to me, there's a lot of conversation about the grandfathered schedule, not grandfathered schedule. I think we've addressed those issues more than once. We've actually addressed them more than once at each board meeting. And I think individuals understand it. It's just an issue of disagreement with an outcome that some individuals feel was not fair to them. But this district, the union, and a majority of teachers felt that this was a fairer outcome than what existed before. And we cannot deny that. It does not erase the personal reaction or emotion about something. I understand that. But we know, as